When you hear the term witch doctor, you might picture someone with mystical powers, secret prophecies, and untouchable authority. But in pre-colonial South Africa, this was one of the worst jobs you could have. You weren't just a spiritual guide and healer, you were expected to advise chiefs, deliver messages from the dead, and bear the weight of your community's health and fortune. And when things went wrong, you were expected to shoulder the blame. Before we dive in, just a quick note. The term witch doctor actually comes from colonists. The real name for this role is sangoma, or more broadly, traditional healer. So for the rest of this video, I'll be using the term sangoma for accuracy and respect. Becoming a sangoma wasn't a career you could choose, it was a spiritual calling. Signs of this calling came through vivid dreams, visions, or even unexplained illnesses. These were believed to be messages from your ancestors urging you to step into the role. Refusing the call was not an option. Those who did would often experience visions and physical symptoms that worsened until you agreed to train. The training, known as ukutwasa, was rigorous and immersive. You would be taken away from your family and placed under the mentorship of a senior sangoma. During this time, you would learn divination, mediumship, memorizing the uses of hundreds of herbs, and mastering ritual songs and dances to channel the spirits. Once your training was complete, you were ready to serve your community. A typical day would begin with purification rituals like burning herbs to call on the ancestors and preparing the plants and roots needed for the day's remedies. Throughout the day, people from the community would seek your assistance. One might ask for protection against witchcraft, another with help for a sick child, or someone else might want to know who cursed their crops. To answer these questions, you would need to use divination, which in this case would be throwing bones and interpreting what the ancestors have revealed. Evenings often involved larger ceremonies. You might perform cleansing rituals, lead drumming and dancing until possession took hold, or prepare sacrifices to restore balance between the living and the spirits. One of your more challenging roles was in politics. As a sangoma, you also served as a consultant to the chief. Before going to war, judging a crime, or forming a new alliance, chiefs often sought guidance from sangomas. Your words could shape the direction of an entire kingdom. However, this power came with enormous risk. If your advice led to victory, you were praised and rewarded. But if things went wrong, if the war was lost or a harvest failed, you could quickly become the scapegoat. The consequences of failure could be severe. Sangomas were often beaten, exiled, or even executed when their prophecies or advice led to misfortune. A famous example of this is the story of Nongqawuse. She was a young girl who claimed that her ancestors told her that if Xhosa people killed their cattle, it would drive the British away. Instead, it led to famine and weakened the Xhosa nation. Due to this failure, Nongqawuse was exiled and spent the remainder of her life in obscurity. Today, her prophecy remains one of the most embarrassing losses in Xhosa history. Despite the risk, being a sangoma was a respected role and still is today. Millions of South Africans still turn to them for healing, spiritual guidance, and protection, just without the immense pressure.